Lisa Fricky,
Here.
Patsy Ko-Johns,
Here.
Rachel Wise,
Present.
John Witzel,
Here.
Molly O'Halloran.
Present.
Patricia Tim,
Yes.
Maureen Nichols,
Present.
Patrick McPherson,
Present.
Commissioner Bloomstead.
Present.
All present.
All stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, information regarding the Open Meetings Act is posted on the east wall of this room on the south side of the door. Live web streaming will be available through the State Board of Education website. I'd like to remind board members to engage their microphones before speaking and to turn them off when they are done speaking. And please turn off your cell phones. Thank you very much. In regards to the approval of the minutes, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the January 5, 2018 State Board of Education meeting?
So I move approval of the minutes.
Second, okay. Made by Molly, seconded by Patricia. Any discussion? Roll call, Denise.
Fricky,
Yes.
Ko-Johns,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
O'Halloran. Nichols,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
McPherson.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you, Denise. Commissioner, are there any recommended changes for today's agenda?
No changes for today.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second.
Made by Patrick, seconded by Patricia. Roll call.
McPherson,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
O'Halloran,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Ko-Johns,
Yes.
Fricky.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you very much, Denise. Public comment. We will now have public comment period. This period of public comment is available for any person who wishes to address the state board on subjects within its authority. Please note that public comment should be on topics related to the state board's constitutional and statutory authority. Thanks to the members of the public who attended today, and we have one request for appearance. Mr. Burke has requested and has been granted a special appearance to comment. You have 10 minutes, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Henry Burke. I would like to explore Nebraska and the 2017 ACT test results. I have heard that a promising young athlete by the name of Scott Frost made a 34 on his ACT when he was in high school. That's pretty good, considering 36 is a perfect score. Coach Chip Kelly has often said that Scott Frost is the smartest, most intelligent coach that he's ever met. Now that I have your attention, let's talk about the ACT tests. I want to commend the state board for officially adopting the ACT as our college entrance exam in September 2016. The board could have adopted the Common Core aligned SAT, but wisely chose the ACT instead. Because what is measured gets taught, heavy use of the SAT would have meant more Common Core in Nebraska schools. The ACT gives high school students and colleges a decent exam that can be used for college admission. It also gives us a measurement tool to see how we compare with other states and whether our students are improving or declining. Last year, a new college entrance exam was introduced. Known as the Classic Learning Test, or CLT, the test provides an accurate measurement of student performance. Because the SAT is aligned with the Common Core standards, students not schooled in Common Core are at a distinct disadvantage on the SAT. By offering an alternative to the SAT and ACT, Students receiving a classical education will get a true measure of their college readiness. 88 colleges are accepting the CLT for admission. Some of the institutions include Hillsdale College, the King's College, and Liberty University. In construction, we need measuring tools to build our work. This is a 100-foot steel tape and plumb bob and a carpenter's level. The level keeps things level and vertical. The tape, of course, is for measuring distances. In the same way, educators need the right tools. For Nebraska, the ACT will be our measuring instrument. Well, how did Nebraska students do on the 2017 ACT tests? The short answer is not very well. When the results first appeared in early December, there was quite an uproar about the poor ACT numbers. If all of the states are ranked by their ACT scores, Nebraska is ranked number 27 out of the 51 states, 50 states plus DC. The average composite score for Nebraska is 21.4, and that compares with the national score of 21.0. Remember that 36.0 is a perfect score on all of the ACT subjects. Because 84% of the Nebraska high school graduates were tested, the results are quite representative for Nebraska as a whole. The ACT also measures the percentage of graduates who met the established readiness benchmarks for college. On the 2017 ACT tests, 67% of the students met the English benchmark, 50% of the students met the reading, 42% met math, 41% met the science, and only 28% of the students met all 4 college readiness benchmarks. When only 28% of Nebraska graduates are ready for college, that should concern you. Obviously, Nebraska's K-12 schools are not preparing students adequately for college. We know that race and ethnicity affect the test results. Because minority groups often come from language-impoverished homes, minority students score more poorly on the exams. This is not a discriminatory statement, it's simply a statement of fact. Consequently, there is a strong correlation between high minority percentages and low test scores. On the ACT tests in Nebraska, 4% of the students were blacks and 13% were Hispanic. This means 17% of the test takers were minority students. Clearly, Nebraska has many more Hispanics than blacks. In Hispanic households, English is often the second language. That is why Nebraska offers so many English as a second language, or ESL, courses. How do these minority percentages compare with the national picture? For the nation, 13% are black, 17% are Hispanic, for a total of 30% minority. The nation has almost double the minority percentage of Nebraska. Educators use a concept known as achievement gaps to measure the difference between whites and minorities. These achievement gaps are expressed as simple subtractions between the white student scores and the minority student scores. When these gaps are expressed as percentages, they become much more meaningful numbers. For Nebraska, the white-black achievement gap is 21%. The white-Hispanic achievement gap is 18%. How do Nebraska students compare with the rest of the country? In simple terms, Nebraska is just plain average. Nebraska's scores are barely higher than the national scores. Nebraska should do much better. Now let's apply this same logic to determine the effectiveness of our state education standards. The performance of students on a national exam is a good measure of the success or failure of the state's education system. If the standards adopted by the state board over the last 10 years were truly great standards, the students would do better on the national exams. Likewise, poor state standards would lead to mediocre results on the national tests. The ACT scores showed a very slight improvement from 2009 to 2013, and the scores have been basically flat for the last 5 years. To determine the effectiveness of our state standards, we will compare Nebraska and Texas ACT scores. At first glance, Nebraska students did somewhat better than Texas students. But we must consider the minority composition of both states. Nebraska has 17% minorities, and Texas has 51% minorities. How do you compare Nebraska with a state that has 3 times the number of minorities, 17% versus 51%? Well, to avoid an apples and oranges comparison, look at the ACT test results for white students in both states. In general, Texas students scored about 1 point higher than Nebraska students. Is a 1.0 difference very important? In this range of scores, between 22.0 and 23.0, a difference of 1.0 could mean the difference between getting admitted to college and maybe picking up a scholarship. Texas students are scoring higher than Nebraska students because Texas has much better state standards. The Texas standards are known as the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, or TEKS for short. I have often suggested to the NDE and this state board that we utilize the Texas Type 1 standards as a guide for the Nebraska standards. I also examined the ACT scores for the largest 24 school districts in the state of Nebraska. The Elkhorn Public Schools topped the list at number 1, and the Omaha Public Schools picked up the number 24, the bottom position. However, we must bear in mind that the Elkhorn Public Schools only have 5% minorities, while the Omaha Public Schools have 60% minority students. The Millard Public Schools was in 4th place, and the Lincoln Public Schools 11th place. The number 23 position, right next to OPS, is the South Sioux City Community Schools. This school district has a minority population of a whopping 71%, and 65% is Hispanic. In conclusion, strong Type 1 state standards would greatly enhance the educational outcomes, improve graduation rates, and better prepare students for college and careers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Thank you, sir. We will now move to our regular public comment period. I would like to remind you to please sign in if you've not already done so. And there is a sign-in sheet with cards at the front table. We have 2 public comment cards turned in, and the public will speak in order the cards were received. Each member of the public will have 5 minutes to speak during the public comment period. I will announce the name of the speaker and the person who is next, so they will be prepared to come forward. Our first speaker is Mr. Jay Sears. Our second speaker is Mr. Jeff Cole. Welcome, Mr. Sears.
Good morning, President Witzel. I got to say that. It's the first time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
For the record, I'm Jay Sears, and I work for the Nebraska State Education Association, and I'd like to talk to you this morning about 3 items on your agenda. I only listed 2. The first 2 are Rule 24 and Rule 21, and you have my written comments, and the NSEA encourages you to adopt those changes in rules. And to be transparent, if you pass the changes in Rule 21, being I am a retired military person, that means I can get a permit to teach. Thank you so much. That's great. And then the other piece was very impressed yesterday with Deputy Commissioner Friesen's presentation about the opportunity that you have to choose Schuyler High School as the next school that you're willing and able, and are starting that process to support the diverse communities that are changing so fast. I think will be a great study for us. to see how we support communities that are changing their demographics very fast. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes out. I'll get to see most of it from my retired position in my chair as I listen to you all and are entertained by streaming video starting in September. So I wish you all a great day today, and I'm looking forward to your discussions about the legislative sessions that are taking place. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Sears. Now, if we could have Mr. Jeff Cole. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning. I am here today as a proud parent of a Lincoln Public School student, and I am in my 52nd semester of having children in the Lincoln Public Schools cumulatively, so I'm in my last semester of having a child in Lincoln Public Schools. And when I tell my friends I'm not a native Nebraskan, I'm a Texan, and when I tell my friends from Texas about my experience in Lincoln Public Schools, I often say I live in Mayberry. You know, my kids have walked to elementary school, they've walked to middle school, and they should be walking to high school, although with a car aged and eligible to drive, we drive a little bit more than we walk to high school. But even though these have been challenging educational environments where they've gone to school, all of my children have gone to Title I public schools here in Lincoln. We are very confident they've gotten a world-class education in Lincoln Public Schools. And while Mr. Frost may have done really well on the ACTs, I can say with a great bit of pride that my children have been in that same range, going to Lincoln Public Schools. And that I think is something we can all take a lot of pride in. And specifically, I wanted to celebrate the success of one of your colleagues' former schools. Lincoln High School was recently acknowledged as a school of opportunity. It was only one of 8 schools in the country that received a Gold Star certification as a school of opportunity, and this was by the Educational Policy Center at the University of Colorado Boulder. And it looked at a range of variables, and I would argue a range of variables that are a little bit more sophisticated than ACT scores alone, to judge the value of the education that my children and their peers in Lincoln High School, who represent the diversity of our country and the future of our country. So Lincoln High was acknowledged as a school that provides multiple and diverse educational opportunities for its very diverse population, specifically recognizing the high percentage of refugee youth that are in refugee and immigrant youth that make up the Lincoln High population. So very, very proud of Lincoln High and all that they've done over many, many years to create an incredibly inclusive environment at Lincoln Public Schools and kind of a capstone experience. So in kind of thinking about the role that you guys play and this board plays and school boards play in helping to set a framework for what constitutes a quality education system. You know, I consider myself a refugee from the Texas education system. It's not an education system that I chose to move back to. One of the reasons I've stayed in Nebraska is because the high quality of the public education system that my children have received here. It's actually been a factor that I have considered at more than one occasion when we've had opportunities to leave, as I was not willing to leave the high quality of public education, free public education that we receive in Lincoln. And the fact that we don't have to go through this elaborate process of selecting a choice option, that I can choose to have my children walk to the public school next to the neighbors they live next to and get a quality education. Something that's very hard to put a dollar value on, but it's something that we really, really appreciate about Lincoln. And the fact that we've been able to do that, I've seen some recent comparisons in terms of per student allocations, and Lincoln Public School is providing in my opinion, again, a world-class education. in a very economical way. I've had lots of exposures to different opportunities. So I just caution going the easy route and finding one indicator that you can kind of peg your hat to and say, oh, this is a barometer of success. I would urge you to look at the 8 criteria that the National Center for Education Policy at the University of Colorado used in determining schools of opportunity, and think more holistically about the challenge of raising responsible, thoughtful citizens that will be the leaders of our democracy in the future. And just really thank you all for your work in setting a framework that Lincoln Public Schools has been able to thrive in, and to create an environment that I am, again, just very grateful to have had 52 great semesters in Lincoln Public Schools. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Thank you very much, sir. The board now, and ladies and gentlemen, we will take a 5-minute recess and convene in 5 minutes. Thank you. Reconvene. We will now move to the action items on today's agenda. Maureen, is there a motion to adopt the proposed revisions to Rule 24, 92 NAC 24 regulations for certificate
Yes,
endorsements?
Mr. President, I move to adopt proposed revisions to Rule 24.
Second.
Roll call, Denise? Discussion. Oh, I'm sorry, discussion? Seeing none, roll call. Thanks.
Co-Johns,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
O'Halloran,
Yes.
McPherson,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes,
Fricky.
Yes.
8 yes.
motion passes. Maureen, is there a motion to adopt proposed revisions with non-substantive changes to Rule 21 regulations for the issuance of certificates and permits to teach, provide special services, and administer in Nebraska schools?
Second.
Yes, I move to adopt proposed revisions with one non-substantive change to Rule 21, regulations for the issuance of certificates and permits to teach, provide special services, and administer in Nebraska schools.
Second.
Discussion. See none, roll call.
O'Halloran,
Yes.
McPherson,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes,
Tim,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Fricky,
Yes.
Co-Johns.
Yes.
8 yes.
thank you. Thank you, Denise. We'll now move into Student Success and Access Domain Committee. Molly. Molly, is there a motion to grant the Commissioner the authority to sign a contract with the State Office of Chief Information Officer?
I move to grant the Commissioner the authority to sign the contract with the State Office of the Chief Information Officer for the contract staff through June 2018.
Second.
Molly made the motion, second by Patsy. Discussion? See none, roll call.
Wise,
Yes.
Fricky,
Yes.
McPherson,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
O'Halloran,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Co-Johns.
Yes.
8 yes.
Continuing on, Molly, is there a motion to approve Federal Discretionary Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and State General Funded Grants Memorandum of Understanding?
I move to approve Federal Discretionary Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and State General Funded Grants Memorandum of Understanding.
Second.
Motion made by Molly, second by Patrick. Discussion? See none, roll call, please.
McPherson,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
O'Halloran,
Yes.
Co-Johns,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Fricky.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you very much, Denise. We will now go into Strategic Planning, Performance, and Improvement Committee. Patricia, is there a motion to designate a priority school per Nebraska Revised Statute Section 79-760.06?
Yes, I move to designate Schuyler Central High School as a priority school per Nebraska Revised Statute, Section 79-760.06.
Second.
Motion made by Patricia, second by Rachel. Discussion? See?
Rachel has
Yeah.
something.
I just again would like to thank NDE Commissioner Dr. Friesen for all the work and analysis that was presented to us in making this decision. So again, I think it's a great next step as we continue our process in supporting our priority schools.
Very good. Any more? Roll call?
Tim,
Yes.
McPherson,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
O'Halloran,
Yes.
Co-Johns,
Yes.
Fricky,
Yes.
Wise.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you very much. Commissioner, do you have any, if you will, exceptions for the consent agenda?
None.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Made by Rachel, second by Lisa. Discussion? Roll call, please, Denise.
O'Halloran,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
McPherson,
Yes.
Wetzel,
Yes.
Co-Johns,
Yes.
Fricky,
Yes.
Wise.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you very much. Moving on to 10.2, is there a motion to approve the future meeting participation?
I have to remove my name from one of those. Do I do it now or just after the meeting?
I'll do a point. This is for future, you do not have to remove your name, only for past. If we will have a process where if you have not already been pre-approved, but you're actually, based on all the guidance we've been given, you're fine to actually do pre-approvals. It's actually about post-approvals that would be a problem, so you're fine on all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Move approval of the meeting requests?
Second.
made by Molly, second by Pat. Discussion?
Yes, I'm registered to go to the legislative conference in Washington. I just want to make sure that if there are 3 of us going, that we're following the protocol and the policy established by the board, that we're.
And we are.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Nichols,
Yes.
O'Halloran,
Yes.
Wise.
Yes.
Fricky,
Yes.
Co-Johns,
Yes.
Wetzel,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
McPherson.
Yes.
8 yes.
And moving on in regards to information items, written reports, the next items are information items and our written reports for the board and for information only. Commissioner, do you have any? None? With the board's permission, instead of, if you will, going into a recess at this time, would y'all want to continue on, since we just had, or do you need a recess?
Maybe we take a 5-minute or something.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so we can grab we're moving so fast.
No,
we
no,
gotta get
no,
ready.
no. We'll take a 5-minute recess and adjourn in 5 minutes, re-adjourn in 5 minutes. Thank you.
No, 'cause we won't be talking anymore.
Oh, okay.